What's up everyone, and welcome back to some more Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle, and today we are back for an event guide. Now I do want to address something before we get too far into this, which is I did not do an event guide for Super 17 because I hated that event. I did not like playing it at all. I only played it a few times, just enough to have some medals in case I ever pulled Super 17, but I would not recommend playing that event if you don't have to, obviously. But on top of that, I did not want to make a video because it would have just made me mad. It would have not been very good, and I don't want to make content that I myself wouldn't watch, I guess is the best way to put it. If I think that it's bad content, I'm not going to put it out. That's just my personal philosophy. If it's not something I would watch, I'm not going to put it out. So we are going to take on the Kid Buu event today, Stage 3, Super 2 difficulty that was just added, and we are going to be running, if I can find who I am looking for, not you. We are going to be, although that T is the team I'm going to use. Alright, is this one good? Yes, we are going to use Mono Extreme Fizz today. Now, the easiest setup for this is Strength, for a reason that I will get into later on in the phase where it's actually the most important. However, I feel that, one, my Strength team is much better than most people's best teams, because I have dupes into most of the cards on the team that are the big hitters. So I don't feel that that's necessarily fair, because for most people watching an event guide, they're not going to have as OP of a team. And I was going to use Agility, but again, that team I think is a little bit too good, not because of dupes, but just because of the strong defense with the Caulifla unit now. So I hate that I'm saying it like that, but it's just force of habit now, just from hearing so many people say it. So we're going to go with Fizz because, one, it's a little bit underpowered, but two, it's still Rex, and this actually is a good setup because I can tank pretty decently. Cooler has really high defense. Goku Black I have 100%, so I have at least a couple options in that, and tanking is going to be quite important. So the items you're going to want to use for this are Senzu Bean, Dende. I would say definitely Ghost Usher, and I actually would recommend instead of using a damage reduction item, that you use a Baba. So I'm going to take off King Yema's and use Babas, because those will come in handy, and I'll use them even though they won't be super important to me. I'll use them at a time that I can recommend using them. So we're going to go to Fizz, and also Strength. Another point about Strength over Fizz in this case is that if you use Strength over Fizz, you won't ever be at type disadvantage. Fizz is at a type disadvantage for a stage that we will see in just a few moments. You're going to go the key path, obviously. It's even more of a big deal with this team because the linking isn't the strongest necessarily in terms of key. So wow, that was a really bad roll, and we'll at least get one over here. Not the greatest, but let's see if we can get a 2. Well, we got another 1. Maybe we can get some key there. Yeah, we did. Alright, it's cooler, but still. Alright, so let's hop in to this, and the first stage is going to be this physical Super Buu. This is going to be a pretty straightforward phase, just 3 phases, and you'll be able to wipe them out pretty easily. There's not like anything ridiculous that you have to worry about in this particular part of the fight. I'll actually give you, oh shit, I didn't do the math. I'm already screwing up in my guide. I'm already doing things that you shouldn't do. Alright, so number one thing to do is not that. Give Cooler or whoever your best card is super attack. Definitely something that you're going to want to do when you go for this. That was already a big, gigantic, monumental mess up. Alright, so as you can see, this phase is pretty straightforward. You just attack, he attacks back, here's a super, and it doesn't really hit super hard. It is 67k, so that's actually quite a bit. But again, not the worst if you're using a Neo lead, which at this point you probably are going to have to going forward, unfortunately. I wish that wasn't the case, but you're pretty much going to have a Neo lead to beat events. This one maybe not so much, because if you're careful and you use items, it's not as big of a deal, but a hit like that might have almost killed you with a 70% team, so just keep that in mind. And here we go. We are moving on from the stage pretty quickly. Luckily, our rotation started out pretty ideal as well. And like I said, I don't have like an ideal physical team. I'm missing the Omega Shenron and the Sin Shenron. So let's get rid of the cookies right there, and then we will give you that. And then Goku Black can have all of this red right here for the sweet pointless nuking. And this is the phase that you're going to be at a disadvantage for. I believe this phase has 4 health bars. Yeah, 4 health bars. This is just the SR Buu that you are going to go up against, or yeah, well, you are going to go up against, but the SR Boo that you pull if you summon on the Kid Boo banner, which if you're watching this video, you probably did. And we are going to get supered right here, 83k, because we were at a type disadvantage. And so this is what I mean, like when you use strength, you're not going to be at type disadvantage, because this is the strength phase, and then after this is going to be a physical phase, which is the key phase to this fight. Again, they did it where the key phase to this fight is not the final phase, and I probably should have put Super2 first, actually, because then we could have got a little bit of extra HP recovery, but it's not a big deal, because I'm probably going to heal at some point during the next phase anyway. I actually might not kill him right here either, which is a good thing to keep in mind, because yeah, okay, it wasn't even a big, alright, well, never mind. We're definitely going to kill him with this additional super, so, like I said, so actually, let's get into this next phase. So this is the Fizz phase, and I am not gonna, you can't screw around in this phase. There's a mechanic in this phase that's really annoying, and it is, all of these attacks can be super attacks. So what you're gonna want to do when you get into this physical phase is you are gonna want to first Ghost Usher. You're gonna want to first Ghost Usher because you can't use Ghost Ushers in back-to-back turns. So you're gonna want to delay attack and then use the Baba if you're having that much trouble. That's just the systematic, like the smart quote-unquote way to do things, and I'm not gonna get super, so I might as well just clear out this candy real quick. Do on both sides. There we go. So you're gonna want to put yourself in a situation where you can use your items in a smart and satisfactory way without wasting them, and putting yourself in a situation where you're gonna be in danger. So you did that there. Now what you're going to do is not Ghost Usher, because you can't do it 2 turns in a row, as I was just talking about. Now you're going to Baba. So this is the best way to use your items, is because you can conserve your items and use them in the smartest way possible, and again, keep yourself out of danger. That's the big thing with these Dokkan events, is a lot of it isn't necessarily that you can't beat them damage-wise, because for the most part, all these events can be outlasted, but it's a point of making sure that you are doing to yourself the least damage. So, and we're going to recover some health now as well. I think we are at full health, though, currently. Well, I can't check now, but still, we should be in pretty good shape. And of course, this is going to last an extra turn. And I'm actually going to eat the super attack. This might not be the smartest thing to do. However, I'm going to have the type advantage because I'm using Fizz in next phase. So I will show you guys that all of these attacks, all 3, is always going to attack 3 times. All of them are going to be super attacks. See? All going to be super attack. Well, I'm only showing you 1, but that's pretty much what you're going to see, but 3 times. And when you're blocking with Cooler, it does only about 56k, but when you're blocking with most of your other cards, this is going to hit pretty hard. So just keep that in mind. And now we are on to the intelligence phase, and this is where we are just going to pretty much eat for the rest of this video, because we're going to have type advantage. And I don't think this phase particularly hits super hard. I haven't tried it with a lot of other teams other than Strength and Fizz, but this phase doesn't particularly hit very hard, and only super attacks once, so it's a lot easier to deal with. Plus, we're just gonna pretty much rip through this because Cooler's so good, and we're actually gonna keep this, I think, like under 9 minutes for our run completely. Although we are gonna have to go in next turn, so there is that to keep in mind as well. And he is not going to super Cooler, which kind of concerns me because we're at type advantage still, but that doesn't mean I want to necessarily get supered. That is an important thing to keep in mind. Alright. And no, he didn't super at all. Alright, very nice. Alright, now's the time to put Cooler in that first thing. You do all that. And you can have that. And then you can have the blues. And we should get, this should be it right here. This, if definitely Cooler, if Cooler definitely doesn't kill him, then Kid Boo, then full power Frieza should. All right, perfect. So pretty straightforward event. Not a whole lot to really go over. Just watch out for the physical phase, the physical Kid Boo phase, because he can super attack 3 times. So bring a sealer, bring a good tank, bring multiple good tanks really if you can, and use items as smartly as you can. The way that I use them is probably the best. Use Ghost Usher, then Baba, or use Baba, then Ghost Usher. I wouldn't recommend doing that one, but it's variants. Like, you can use one or the other. You don't have to use, you can't put yourself in a situation where you're using 2 Babas and then a Ghost Usher, because you can't use Ghost Ushers in back-to-back turns. You can only use them in one turn. So, anyway, that is going to do it for me. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed. See you next time for more Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle.